Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
Co-creating at its best, really at its best. You are knowing what you are wanting?
Yes.
Of course you are. Well, that's the key, isn't it? To have a desire and to not shoot it in the foot every day with negative expectation. That's the whole process. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. Well, you are remarkable in that you are among the rare humans who are recognizing your vibrational nature. And if you aren't fully recognizing it in this moment, you will before we are finished today, because it's all we ever talk about. The vibrational nature of you and of everything else. When you are aware of your emotions and what they mean, then you are able to consciously meld together the vibrational beingness that is you from source perspective. That part of you that existed before you came into this body, who still exists even though you are in this physical body. You're able to meld that part of you with this physical human personality part of you. Because your emotions are always your indicator of that vibrational proximity, that vibrational alignment or misalignment, that vibrational allowing of the fullness of who you are to be present and flowing to you and through you in this moment, or the resistance that is keeping that from happening. And we want to help you to realize that in every moment of any resistance, and resistance isn't a bad thing, although it's something that you want to learn to be aware of and to moderately control, that resistance that you are aware of because of any negative emotion that you might feel is always self-imposed, self-applied because of you in your physical body. It's your focus. No resistance is ever added to the equation from your non-physical standpoint. As you form a perspective or an opinion, law of attraction will validate it, because law of attraction will match whatever you've got going on. So sometimes in your quest for rightness, you form an opinion and law of attraction just validates that rightness. We just want to point out to you that if in the midst of that rightness you feel negative emotion, the source within you is holding a different opinion. The source within you is not calling you wrong and not even trying to get you to think differently than you think. Just being who source is, loving as source loves, keeping the light on for you in case you want to stumble in. When you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. You just can't have any moment in time that you are not perceptually looking for improvement and looking for the best possible scenario for yourself. Now, there are a lot of people that don't want to be that way. You want to be more humble, or you want to be more giving of others. But we submit to you that unless you are selfish enough to care about your own vibrational relationship with your own vibrational partners, meaning the source within you, then you have no chance of alignment, and then you have no chance of steadily flowing the fullness of who you are into any moment in time. And if you're not fully aligned and flowing the whole of you into the conversation, into the lovemaking, into the appreciation, into the awareness, into the conversation, into whatever it is that you're focused upon, then the diminishment that you experience as a result of not allowing the wholeness of you to be there is what you would describe as negative emotion, and it's what we would describe as self-applied by you resistance as a result of choosing thoughts in this moment that are not up to speed, are not equivalent, are not same as the thought that the source within you is thinking about the same thing in the same moment. We have one small story to tell you, and we think it lays the basis of everything that we're going to be talking today really well for you. So imagine that you're standing here as your point of attraction, and that law of attraction is going to help you rendezvous with everything that is vibrationally active within you. So it's like there's a pipeline between you and what you've been thinking about, wanted and unwanted. So we call this pipeline the path of least resistance, because as you think about it, you offer a thought that opens the pipeline. A thought that you hold for as little as 17 seconds is powerful enough. But once you cross the 17-second mark, we're not kidding you. This is precise. Another thought like it joins it. That thought's more powerful. So the path of least resistance between you and what you're thinking about is that much more. By the time you hold it for another 17 and then another 17, so you cross the 68-second mark, that path of least resistance is significant enough that there is going to be some demonstration to you if you're aware. The demonstration will come, you might miss it, but there's going to be some demonstration of the pathway you've laid. So we just want to say to you, in the simplest way, you heard that so completely, that any time you're opening a path that's leading to something that you do not want, every time, no exceptions, you feel negative emotion. And every time you're opening a path that's leading you to something you do want, every single time, no exception, you feel positive emotion. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. There isn't anything you need to know. If you are accepting that you are a vibrational being, and most of you are, there's not a shred of evidence to the contrary of anything that we speak, so accept it. Oh, that doesn't work, does it? Life will show you. Life will show you. So if you accept that you're a vibrational being, and if you accept that you're constantly emitting these vibrations, and that these vibrations, which are the same thing as your thoughts or your interests, past, present, or future, whether you're observing it or imagining it or remembering it, you're thinking about it. And if you're doing any of those things, you're offering a vibration, and if you're offering a vibration, then you're carving out a path of least resistance. So we began explaining to Esther that you've got 17 seconds to go down the wrong path a little bit. You've got 17 seconds before that momentum gets going, or before you reinitiate it again today, because you know what? And this is the most important thing. The paths that you've carved out before are irrelevant today. They're just easier to carve out today if you've carved them out before. But they're really irrelevant. In other words, it's today where all of your power is. So it's your propensity to lean in a direction of wanted or unwanted. It's your propensity to feel negative or positive. It's your propensity. Your mood is a propensity. It's not something that's stuck in your vibrational craw. It's not something that has been memorized that you can't get around. You are free to reset the button anytime. We began saying to our friends, you friends, you may have some clogged pipes. Because if you're asking for things that aren't coming, it may be that you've got some clogged pipes. So it was a sort of fun analogy to play with. Let's get those pipes open. And the better you feel, the more your pipes are open. But then later, the analogy began to evolve. And Esther heard us say, as she's listening back on one of the recordings, that those pipes closed up from neglect. And something about that just jumped out to her. And so she sat and wrote with us. She's working on a new book. We are writing. It's called The Grid, which really is the label that we're giving to what your point of attraction is. What are you doing? It's like a grid or a framework that's filling in with the details. But what are you vibrationally building? What grid have you established that is filling in with all of the details? And so, as Esther is thinking about these pipes that have clogged up with neglect, we said to her, there are things that you've opened a path of least resistance to that you don't want to rendezvous with. So why not let those pipes close up from neglect, lack of attention? And there are those things that you really want to establish a pathway to, a path of least resistance to. So why not keep those pipes open by attention? So Esther was talking to a friend the other day, and she said, I have something to tell you, but I only have 17 seconds to do it in. And we said, well, you've captured the spirit of what we've been talking about to some extent, but that wasn't exactly what we had in mind. Because we think if you're wise enough to know you're headed down the wrong path, you're wise enough to keep your mouth shut. We mean that in the most loving way. In other words, if you don't talk about it, you're going to shorten the path or just let it clog up from neglect. So the vibrational version of the dollars you want, of the financial well-being you want, of the physical wellness that you want, of the clarity you want, of the loving relationships that you want. You've launched these rockets about your empires and about your work, about the things that ring your bells. You've launched these rockets, and there is a vibrational version that exists, that is a reality, that the source within you is focused upon consistently and constantly, that if you will feel for the frequency of it, you will have joy in the moment. It will be as if it is manifested, because in a sense, you will have achieved vibrational alignment with it. And then what happens? It begins to transform itself right before your eyes into a reality that is tangible. But you got to be able to feel it and be happy about feeling it even before you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. That really is what this gathering is here to help you to remember. We call it the art of allowing. And what it really means is bringing yourself deliberately to a place of allowing the frequency of who you really are in order to allow that frequency, those ideas, those experiences, those relationships, those moments in time, those rendezvous, those experiences to move from a vibrational reality into a manifested reality where you feel them out, where they flesh themselves out right before you. We want you to know that if you could stand in your now and get out ahead of the manifestation by anticipating it rather than by noticing that it hasn't come yet, if you could make that one slight, very soft, it'll take a little practice, adjustment to the way you are looking at life, not only will so many of the things that you've been waiting for manifest for you, but every moment of your day will be one of those joyful moments where you are anticipating the unfolding, where you are in on, where you're in on it, where you are in on it. We watch you in your creative endeavors, and we know how much fun it is for you in your action. It's really satisfying for you to have an idea about something and then have a hand in watching it come, or have a hand in making it come into reality. You want your yard to be beautiful, and there's a satisfaction in getting the equipment and grooming your yard. You want beautiful flowers surrounding your front porch. There's a satisfaction in picking them out and bringing them in and preparing the soil and putting them there and watering them and nurturing them. It's fun to have that hand in that. You want to write a book? It's fun to take notes of ideas that are coming and comments that are coming from others. It's fun to write it down. It's fun to sit before your contraptions and write upon the page. It's fun to do that. It's all kinds of fun to do that, to have those hands-on experiences in your creative experience. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. There is great love here for you. And always we remain joyously, blissfully, and stubbornly in the vortex. How you like that? I love you guys.